So controller players, I want to chop it up with y'all about this in-game setting that may or may not be breaking your gameplay. First things first, I do want to say there is no right way to dial in your settings. I cannot stress this enough. Use what works best for you. There is so much more that goes into how you play the game than you may think. From the shape of your controller, all the way down to the length of your fingers and size of your hands, no diddy. Let's go ahead and get started though. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if I'm returning, welcome back. So, aim response curve type. What is this? Essentially, these settings determine how your aim responds to the movement of your analog stick. There are 3 types: standard, linear, and dynamic. Each have their own unique feel, and they all have their advantages and disadvantages to keep it a stack. For a lot of you, I know this is common knowledge, but how we get to the aim response curve type is we go to settings and then controller, then we go over to aiming, then we go over to aiming advanced settings. Hit X or A on this, depending on if you're on an Xbox or PlayStation controller. Go ahead and open this up, and then here you will see aim response curve type. Then go ahead and open this up, and then you'll have all 3 settings. Up top in game, it says select the aim response curve type that best suits your preferences and playstyle. Not Shotzi's, not Abeezy's, not Envoy's. Yours. Let me go ahead and move my big ass head out of the way right here for a second. So standard, ideal for new players, slow starting movement that speeds up over the aiming rate, power curve map from the aim stick to aim rate. Linear, ideal for players who have mastered the tweaking of the aim settings. The aiming stick maps directly to the aiming rate. Now dynamic, ideal for more experienced players, fast starting movement that slows down to the aiming rate. Reverse S curve mapping. So another reason why I think this may be so popular, aside from all of the pros using it for the most part, is the way this is worded right here in the settings. So let's start with standard. This is the default setting and it provides a balanced response. It is good for most players. In my opinion, it's good for most players because it offers a consistent and predictable aiming experience. Most pro players will say that dynamic is better for most, but I'll tell you what, majority of us are not pro players. So don't completely rule out standard, and I'm also not saying rule out dynamic just because pro players say that that is the best. So if you're new to the game or you prefer a more traditional feel, standard is solid, but I know I said a couple of those words that made you guys might not want to use this. I am not saying this setting is for new players or noobs only or not so good players. This aim response curve type is still really good, so definitely don't write this one off. Next, you have linear. As the game suggests, this setting provides a direct one-to-one response between your stick movement and your aim. This means small stick movements result in small aim adjustments. I did play on linear back in Modern Warfare 2. With that game being so slow, I felt like that was just the best option for me. In Modern Warfare 3, I played on dynamic, and right now in Black Ops 6, I am torn between dynamic and standard. But linear is ideal for players who want precise control and have a steady hand. I doubt we have any gamer shorties here, but I would recommend this for ladies who have a soft touch or maybe some dainty hands. And even if you're a guy and you have a soft touch, this will work for you as well. I'm just a heavy-handed piece of shit from playing metal music, both drums and bass over the years, which is part of the reason why I have 2 SCUF controllers that don't work. And no, I did not fuck up the SCUF controllers by raging. But yes, if you have a softer touch or essentially just better control, give linear a go. And next you have the most popular one, dynamic. This setting offers a more complex response curve that accelerates your aim the further you push the stick. It is designed to give you the best of both worlds. Precise control for small movements and quick adjustments for larger movements. Dynamic can be a bit tricky to master, but once you have the hang of it, it can be incredibly effective. And I know I said it a minute ago, but most players will say dynamic is the move. But let's be real, the main reason why majority of the players are saying dynamic is a move is because majority of the pro players use dynamic. But once again, 99% of us are not pro players. But bro, Envoy said it, but bro, Abeezy said it. You're not Envoy, you're not Abeezy, so just because it works for them doesn't mean it will work for you. If you are having more success on any of the other ones, use those. Don't just use dynamic because that's what the pro players say to use. So which one should you use? It does depend on a few different factors though, such as your playstyle and your personal preference. This is just my personal take though when it comes to different playstyles. If you like to play a bit aggressive and you like to be in the mix, maybe usually on time soaking, then in my opinion, take advantage of dynamic. Let's say on P4 Vault, for example, if you are in the point, I think dynamic will be your friend. If you like to sit back, kind of get picks and maybe play that anchor kind of role, I recommend standard. Again, you don't have to take this super literally. This is just my personal take. But as far as linear, nothing too specific in my opinion. If it works for you, fuck it, use it. If you are unsure, I recommend starting with standard and experimenting with linear and dynamic to see what works best for you. Alright, so in theory here, we know what all of the aim response curve types do. So let's go ahead and shoot at some of these dummies here and see if we feel any kind of significance between the three. So standard, pretty straightforward. My shot is a little windy right now, holy shit. But yes, definitely medium to long range. I think this feels the most satisfying. Let's go ahead and switch things over to dynamic really quick. Or you know what, we'll try linear first. All right, so here's how things are looking on linear. This definitely feels a lot more touchy. It does feel good though, but again, with my heavy-handed ass, I don't think I can go ahead and actually use this and be competitive. And I do understand all these may feel different when I'm actually in a lobby playing against real players, but you can definitely tell the difference between the aim response curve types when you come to the shooting range. So before you jump into a game, I recommend trying this, especially if you want to go ahead and make adjustments to your own. Now let's go ahead and try dynamic. Pretty straightforward once again. I do think my shot is the straightest with dynamic right now. But again, some days I have a little more success with standard, but I'll tell you what, once you figure out what works best for you, leave it alone. Set it and forget about it. That way, things will start to feel consistent. If you're consistently changing the aim response curve type, that is why the game feels so inconsistent. And at that point, it's not the game, it's you. Another thing you might want to consider is your controller sensitivity. I think a good combination will be if you play on a lower sensitivity, then standard will be the move. And with the higher sense, dynamic. Again, let's say if you're trying to hit those beams with an AR from a distance, that will help you out significantly. And just like I glossed over a second ago, dynamic if you like to be in the mix. Now lastly, does the aim response curve type matter so much to where it may make or break your game? I personally do not think so. Currently, I am trying to figure out what I like more, and it's between dynamic and standard. But let's say hypothetically, developers went ahead and took out dynamic and linear for whatever reason, God forbid, and we all had to play on standard systematically. I am confident I will still be able to shoot just as straight as I do now. If you have any additional insight, go ahead and drop everything down below. And if you made it to the end, thank you for sticking around. I'll drop 2 more videos for you on the screen right here. And consider subbing if you dug the content. And let us know what aim response curve type you are using in Black Ops 6. Thank you all for your time. All y'all take care, and I'm out.